The honourable member for Calgary, Nose Hill.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, it's a great honour to speak in response to the speech from the throne this morning. I'd like to take a moment to express my gratitude to the people of Calgary, Nose Hill for the opportunity to be their voice in the legislature. It's a privilege to represent these good people in the government, and I will do my best to listen and bring their concerns and ideas forward here. I'd like to take this chance to tell you about myself and the riding I represent. The riding of Calgary, Nose Hill was established in 2005 and includes some of the best parts of the city. The name of the riding is derived from two namesakes. Calgary's 26th mayor, Donald McKay, served the city from 1949 to 1959, and he's credited with starting the tradition of presenting a white Stetson to visitors, cementing a custom that continues today and has been adopted by Tourism Calgary, which annually presents their White Hat Awards to celebrate inspiring individuals in the tourism industry that go above and beyond to provide service to visitors to our city. Nose Hill Park is the second largest urban park in Calgary and in Canada. When you drive into Calgary from the west of the city, you can see the remnants of an ancient river when you look to the north. It was this river, along with the retreat of glaciers from the last ice age, which created the hill and began forming the distinctive shape that it has today. The park is home to many native plants, such as the prairie crocus, and has some of the last existing natural grasslands in North America. 95% of North American grasslands have been lost to development, pollution, and cultivation. The park covers 11.27 square kilometers and has more than 300 kilometers of trails worn there by walkers, runners, cyclists, my dog, and almost 200 species of animals that have been recorded in the park. Nose Hill is comprised of 5 great neighborhoods in the northwest quadrant of Calgary: Huntington Hills, Beddington Heights, where I make my home, McEwen, Sandstone, and Calgary's fastest growing community, Evanston. I'd like to talk a little bit about Huntington Hills. It was established in the late 1960s, as was I, and has one of the most active and vibrant community associations in the city. I was happy to present the Community Association with a check for $350,000 recently, and that was from the Community Facilities Enhancement Program, which normally has a limit of $125,000, but there was such a deficit and it is such a vibrant part of the community that an exception was made for them. This grant is going to go towards refurbishing the gymnasium, which is home to many sports and recreation programs in the community and is used by groups citywide. The Community Association is also home to childcare and community programs. Parent Link runs a PPP parenting program, and this is funded through Human Services. It supports parents with a proven program to develop the skills, strategies, and confidence to handle any parenting situation. I'm sure my colleagues here that are parents will agree with me that parenting is the singularly most challenging role any person can take on, and I'm so grateful that this program is available. Huntington Hills Community Association also offers curling, skating, and meeting spaces for many organizations in the community and holds one of the best stampede breakfasts in the city, where last July I skillfully caught every one of the pancakes that was thrown by our very popular mayor, and that was no easy task. On the east side of the riding is the Calgary Airport. The airport is managed and operated by the Calgary Airport Authority. This is a non-profit organization that ensures YYC continues its role as a vital part of the Calgary economy. The airport contributes in the neighborhood of 7% of the GDP to the city of Calgary, and it's a vital gateway for both people and goods. 15.48 million passengers and 134,695 metric tons of cargo traveled through the airport last year, and YYC is a major hub for both WestJet and Air Canada. The Airport Authority owns and leases hundreds of thousands of square feet of warehouse, industrial, and office space. And this space is home to a number of local and international businesses. Due to the continued growth of the airport, a number of new hotels and commercial facilities have been built around the area in the last 5 years and have really transformed it. YYC is opening a new international terminal later this year and will have 24 new gates to serve travelers. I recently helped one of the companies in the Skyline Industrial Park open their new location. CCI Wireless provides wireless internet access to rural Alberta and is one of the kinds of companies that can benefit from the $1.5 billion announced in the throne speech that is available to Alberta Treasury branches to support lending to small and medium-sized businesses, which are the backbone of our economy. Rural internet access allows our farmers, ranchers, and rural businesses to participate in the economy in ways they haven't been able to. A cattle rancher with wireless internet access has the ability to stream live auctions and bid on animals that previously they would have had to spend time and money to travel just to see. Some of these farms may even be in McKay-Nose Hill, as there's a large area on the north side of the constituency that has some farms and acreages. CCI Wireless employs around 100 Albertans with good-paying, stable jobs and has plans to expand, creating a couple hundred more jobs. It's this kind of diversity that will make our economy more resilient to the changes in the energy industry and the effects that we are all facing because of the protracted and unexpected drop in the price of oil. The government has also directed AIMCO to earmark $500 million for Alberta companies, those with growth potential, giving our small and medium businesses the chance to grow their enterprises and position themselves for the economic recovery that Alberta will see. The throne speech was delivered on March 8th this year, which is also International Women's Day. This day has grown to celebrate the gains that have been made in striving for the equality of women and men. Actually, Mr. Speaker, this is feminism. Feminism is simply the belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities. It's not a scary agenda of hatred or hurt. I'm proud to be part of a government caucus that is gender balanced with equal numbers of men and women who are committed to serving the people of Alberta. And I'm proud of our government for leading the way in equality by establishing the status of women ministry. One of the outcomes I'm committed to as an MLA, Mr. Speaker, is that women and girls can walk alone without fear. And I'm excited that a ministry exists that is leading the effort to end violence against women in conjunction with other ministries. Sexism is what allows violence against women to continue. The belief that women and girls are less than, that they are inadequate, that they're incapable. Women face prejudice based on our gender every day, in so many ways that it's difficult to relate the experience to others. Sexism is a type of bullying that is deeply ingrained in our culture, and it hurts everyone, men and women, girls and boys, by constraining us to narrowly defined roles, ideas of what we should be. Sexism makes achieving the same wages as men very difficult for women, especially in Alberta, where women are reported to earn less than 65% of the wages that men make. Companies are shown to be more successful when they have more women in management roles, yet we still see women underrepresented at boardroom tables across our province. It would take a woman working in Canada 235 years to earn the average yearly salary of a male CEO in our country. I'm a single parent. I raised a daughter and a son, and I'm very proud of both of them and their support, in Calgary, then in a small town called Kenley in the United Kingdom, and in North Attleboro in Massachusetts. I moved my family to England to work for a manufacturing company and experienced blatant sexism on the job. My male colleagues made higher salaries than I did. They enjoyed a closer relationship with our manager through their trips to the pub and the golf course together, and they were encouraged to fly business class while traveling for work, while I was given economy tickets, until I insisted on equitable treatment. I look forward to ending sexism and the damaging effects it has on our society, Mr. Speaker, and I urge all of my colleagues in the House to join in the effort. One of the biggest challenges I faced was finding reliable childcare. I had to fly my mother over from Canada to watch my children for me so I could travel for my job. Being able to afford good childcare, even when working in a professional capacity, is a challenge for single parents, and I know that single parents and their children especially will benefit a great deal from enhancements to the Alberta Child Benefit and the Family Employment Tax Credit announced in the throne speech. As any parent can tell you, healthcare and education are very important to families, and it's these issues that got me more involved in our political process, Mr. Speaker. In late 2014, the Premier at that time was telling Albertans to be prepared for 9% cuts in healthcare and education. That is a lot to cut from these essential services. I remember when Albertans had to cope with the fallout from the deep cuts to healthcare in the 1990s. I remember taking my kids to the store. We were driving down an alley off of 14th Street in the Northwest, and we saw a man eating food out of a dumpster. He was digging through the food that had been thrown out by a local restaurant. At that time, I was working as an administrative assistant at an oil company, and I didn't make a lot of money, but it broke my heart that anyone in our province would be so hungry they'd have to eat food from the garbage. So I stopped and I gave him $20 to get something safe and healthy to eat. The man was mentally handicapped, and he'd been discarded by a government intent on making deep cuts with no support for him to navigate a world he'd never had to live in alone before. It wasn't the sort of world I wanted my kids to live in then, and it isn't the sort of world I want kids to live in now. We are all connected, and we are stronger together when we take care of one another. The prospect of more people facing homelessness, more people having to wait even longer to see a doctor, larger classrooms, longer waiting times for surgeries that make life bearable, well, this was unacceptable to me, so I decided to get involved. I joined a campaign called Better Way Alberta, and we encouraged Albertans to sign a petition against the deep cuts the government at the time was proposing. It was through that work that I was approached to run as a candidate for the NDP in last May's election, and I met a former MLA who was deeply committed to public service, Bob Hawksworth. Bob was the MLA for Calgary Mountain View previously, and he served as a longtime city council member in Calgary, and I'm really fortunate to have such a generous person in the riding of McKay-Nose Hill. During the election, Mr. Hawksworth was a wealth of advice and support for me, and he was my biggest cheerleader. He was out knocking on doors with me every night. He helped me to distribute thousands of flyers. Some of them even had my face on it, which was very cool. And he stood with me and other great volunteers on the early mornings when we stood and waved signs and greeted commuters on their way to work. I really would like to thank him for his support. McKay-Nose Hill has been hit quite hard by the economic downturn, Mr. Speaker. An estimated 2,500 people have been directly impacted in the riding through job losses, and I know that many more have faced wage cuts. I've heard from constituents about the economic and personal struggles they are facing, and I know that hope is what helps pull people through tough times. I was happy to hear that the government is committed to putting many Albertans back to work through the investment of $34 billion in the provincial capital plan to help build the roads, transit systems, schools, and other facilities that the province needs to support our communities and our citizens. I've lived in Alberta most of my life. I was born in Edmonton, just in Oliver, and I grew up in Sexsmith and Grand Prairie. I've lived and worked in the UK and the US, and I chose to come back to Alberta because of the diversity and the opportunity we have here. As you can tell, Mr. Speaker, McKay-Nose Hill is a diverse riding, and not just for the communities and the parks and the industry. Young families, senior citizens, people who were born in Alberta, people who've recently made Calgary home after fleeing war, people who need support because of disability, and people who have created companies that employ many of our neighbours, people who cook for us, take care of our roads, drive our buses, people who serve our community in a myriad of ways. All of these people make McKay-Nose Hill home, and it has been my honour to tell you about our riding and how the throne speech will impact us. Thank you.